All right, let's get to some Georgia football, then some Falcons stuff here. Because Seth Emerson, as he's wont to do, always has some interesting takes on the Georgia Bulldogs. And one that he wrote in his mailbag this week to me uh, spoke volumes. One of the things he talked about was one of the question from one of his readers was, did the performances of Dewan Edwards and Branson Robinson, you know, signal a shift in the offense? We've talked so much this year about the philosophical shift of the offense that's needed. And I've said repeatedly that until Georgia gets a quarterback who can handle this pass first, pass 55, run 45% type deal on a routine basis, they're always going to be susceptible to being beat by a team that can execute it well. I still hold to that. Georgia last year, I won't call them the anomaly. They were a better team than Alabama on multiple fronts, particularly on defense, and they deserve to win the national title. I'd never take that away from them. However, I have been, critical is not the right word. I've been skeptical of Stetson Bennett and his ability to be that level of a passer. And then we get to the beginning of the year and we see what Stetson Bennett did against Oregon the first couple of weeks, and Stetson Bennett Heisman. And then, of course, we watch the games against Kent State, the games against Missouri, and even to a certain extent last week, where we could see the mistakes that he's making and go, yeah, let's end that Stetson Bennett Heisman conversation. And we did. Whether you want to acknowledge it, it's over. Stetson Bennett is no longer in the Heisman conversation. But according to Seth Emerson, he said that Georgia's coaches spoke to Rick Neuheisel and the CBS crew before the game, and they told him, quote, that, and this is according to Rick Neuheisel, in reference to Stetson Bennett, quote, they trust him. They want to give him the ball. He makes good decisions, but they may have gone a little bit overboard. They may have gone a little bit overboard. Look for them to be a little bit more balanced today. Well, that's exactly what the Bulldogs did. Rushing it more on first down than normal in the running game, 16 rushes for 118 yards and only 25 passing yards on 13 attempts on first down. So they geared it back a little bit, right? And we said that prior to the game. I said that right here on A to Z, that expect them to be more run heavy. Now, CBS showed a graphic during the pregame. Georgia's offense was only 42.5% pass from 2016 to 2021, and then, including the national championship year, and then 54% pass in the first 5 games of this year, the highest in Georgia since 1994. Okay. Yeah. Georgia needs to get back to being a run first team because their quarterback won't permit them to pass at 54% rate. That's just the way it is. Guys, I mean, it's not an insult. Play to your strengths. Absolutely play to your strengths and be smarter about how to go out and beat your opponent. Is Stetson Bennett good enough to make critical pass plays in critical situations? Yes. Can you trust him to throw the ball for certain stretches of the game more than you run? Yes. But on the whole, this is not an offense or a team or a quarterback you want passing 55% of the time and running 45% of the time. That's not a formula that over the course of a 12-game regular season, SEC championship game, and college football playoff that you want Stetson Bennett to hold to. Part of the reason Stetson Bennett was so successful in the pass game late last year is because you had to respect the Georgia run game more. If you take that equation out of it, you're now allowing teams to key on Stetson Bennett as the primary source of the offense. And that changes things defensively. So, to me, again, I expect to see it this week. Run, run, run. Run, run, run. Just go beat up Vanderbilt with the run game. You don't need to do anything crazy. When you go play a Tennessee team that's got a pass defense that's as bad as they are, sure, lean into that. Because 2 quarterbacks in the SEC who are average at best on their very best day, and Anthony Richardson and Jaden Daniels both threw over 300 yards on that Tennessee defense. I fully expect Stetson Bennett. In fact, Anthony Richardson threw for over 400 yards, but I would fully expect Stetson Bennett to have a big passing day against that Tennessee defense. That's fine. That's a weakness of theirs. Exploit it. But game in, game out, just run the damn ball. Just run the damn ball. It's so much easier. It really, really, really is. All right. Let's get to the Falcons here. because I found this very, very interesting. And then we got some shovels of wisdom to hand out, by the way, as well. We also have an explosive report. An explosive report. On the NFL. Sorry, had a brain fart there. Hamster's back on the wheel. So Josh Kendall of The Athletic wrote a column today saying Marcus Mariota's positives and negatives why the Falcons like what they see. And he's quoting Arthur Smith in the very second sentence of the column saying, quote, I think he's done a nice job. Quarterback rating and completion percentage be damned, Arthur Smith said. You know, I asked him about this, and that was a quote in direct response to my question about the passing numbers and where they are. Smith went on to say the completion percentage, whatever. I worry more about situational football, turnover margin, making sure we're clean in the red zone. There are a lot of ways to look at it, but I do have an appreciation for guys who won't take negative plays regardless of their stats. Well, the stats are bad. Mariota's numbers are bad. Completion percentage, 57.7%. That's 30th in the NFL. His passer rating, 78.8, ranks 27th. This is a team that has only completed count them, 5 passes in each of the last first halves. Each of the last 2 games in the first half. Mariota's only completed 5 passes. Can't score a lot when you only complete 5 passes. Unless you got like 15, 18 runs that are all netting huge yardage, can't score a lot. Means you don't have long sustained drives when you only complete 5 passes. You just don't. Josh Allen completes 5 passes on his first drive. Marcus Mariota barely completes 5 passes in the entire first half. I'm not suggesting that Marcus Mariota should be Josh Allen. What I'm really saying is you got to be better in the pass game. And Arthur Smith can say this. And to an extent, he's right. To an extent, stats be damned. We're competitive. We're in football games. Our quarterback isn't hurting us as much as he is helping us. Who cares what the numbers say? Sure. Talk to me in 3 more weeks when the numbers are the same and the L's are piling up a little more, because winning like this is not sustainable. That's not me making that up. That's the NFL today. You're not going to win more than you lose with a quarterback who only completes 57% of his passes and has a 78 quarterback rating. You're going to lose more. Because games in the NFL are usually decided by 3 or 4 points. And those 3 or 4 points are usually decided by 3 or 4 plays that ultimately decide a game. Can you rely on your quarterback to make more of those 3 or 4 plays than miss them? Right now, the answer with Mariota is no. You can't. Is he helping them running the ball on third down and converting third down, plays at times? Yes. But it's a different conversation when it's the second quarter of a game and, you're up 10-7. And it's a big difference in the third quarter of a game or the fourth quarter of a game, especially the fourth quarter, when you're trailing 24-20 and need a touchdown. Huge difference. Those are not the same situations. They're played different offensively. They're played different defensively. Everything changes. So, that said, you could sit here and tell me all you want. Stats be damned. Completion percentage be damned. All those things. Secretly behind closed doors, it has to get better. That's number one. Number two, if you were losing games, you wouldn't be saying stats be damned. You'd be saying we need to get better in that area. Or you'd be doing things to fix it. Again, guys, not knocking Arthur Smith. Not knocking Arthur Smith. Okay? You guys know, if you've listened to this show enough or you follow me on Twitter, I think the world of the guy as a coach. He's as sharp as a tack, smart as hell, one of the most creative play callers in the league. And he's not even getting credit for it yet. He will, but not yet. So this isn't a knock on him. It's just the reality of the situation. And I'm sure Arthur Smith is smart enough to understand that. He can only play with the pieces that he's given, and he has to lean into what Mariota does well. And leaning into what Mariota does well is not throw as often as you'd like. That's the answer. That's why he only completes 5 passes. I tell you again, I'll say it, and I'll say it tomorrow on our Football Friday. Worried about this game on Sunday. I think this could be one of the games where the Falcons get blown out. Mostly because that defense is going to suffocate every ounce of this offense. Unless the Falcons can really get sustained running, get a sustained running game and have rushing yards pile up, I worry a lot about it. Might see a lot of 3 and outs. You're starting to see second and long a lot. It's going to be problematic. Watch what happens on first down. Watch how they try to move the ball. It could be ugly, a bloodbath even. So there is that.